Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome once again to the Pet Show. Does your terrier have you in a tizzy? Is your rescued feline a little flustered? Are your corgis totally taking control? Well, if you love your dogs and cats, and I'm assuming you do, and really want to understand their behavior as well as they understand yours, maybe you're confused about why your dog or cat behaves a certain way and want to find out what you can do about it. Well, you know what to do, right? Stay tuned, because once again, right here, right now, it is time for the Pet Show. That's right, America's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, and of course, pet lifestyle show. So hop up on my couch. Bring those furry little buddies with you. Yes, it is that time once again right here in Southern California to let the animal analyzing begin. Hello, everyone. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is the Pet Show, the place where we absolutely, positively, never a doubt about it, love, adore, and as I stress every single week, respect pets and animals as much as you do. By the way, if you want to join me on the Evergreen Pet Show family, you have a question, you have a comment, a criticism, want to share a great story, brag about your dog, brag about your cat, lots of great stuff to give away, plenty of time to answer all of your questions, whether it be jumping or digging or scratching or not getting along or a change in behavior. You have a dog that all of a sudden he's getting a little chronologically challenged and his behavior is changing. You got a question about that? Great time to give me a call. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870 KRLA. How can you forget that? 866-870 KRLA. But if you're more of a numbers person, that's 866-870-5752. Plenty of time for your calls. Lots of great stuff to give away. I got hugs and kisses to give away. Lucy pet food, kitty lickies, doggy lickies. I got some, I'm telling you, the rain we had this year in Southern California, I got some all-natural herbal flea spray to give away. I have Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. Boy, are people loving that. I got air horns to give away, T-shirts to give away, calming and recovery products from Acorn. Lots of great stuff to give away. Plenty of time for your calls. The phone number again, 866-870 KRLA. 866-870-5752. You know, the last couple of weeks or a month or so, people have been emailing me and texting me. They like me to share stories about some of my adventures getting to where I am right now. And later on today's show, I am going to share Warren gets arrested again. That's right, Warren gets arrested again. Right in front of the Plaza Hotel. We'll talk about that a little bit later on the show. But let me tell you what I have planned for today's show, okay? Coming up on today's show. Pets go through the garbage, open cabinet drawers, or seem to always be getting in trouble. That's what you call me on the show about. I've heard them called delinquents, and that bugs the heck out of me. So today, on the show right here and now today, we're going to take a look at something I call unintentional delinquency. And by the way, help is on the way. Unintentional delinquency, a term I coined many years ago. What does it mean? Does it mean that bad dogs aren't really bad? You bet it does. We'll talk about that a little bit later on today's show. Again, that number, 866-870 KRLA, 866-870-5752. Also coming up in today's show. You know, we all know that cat guardians love their cats and would do anything for them. But after interviewing some of my feline buddies, I wanted to take a little different stance. So I wanted to find out not what you think about your cats, but I wanted to find out what your cats think about you. Nah. And believe me, you're going to be a little surprised. So what does your cat really think about you? I got the truth coming up a little bit later on today's show. If you want to give me a call and let me know what you think your cat thinks about you, give me a call, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. You know, a lot of the questions we get here on the Pet Show are things that a lot of people can't answer. I don't want to sound egotistical, but many of the behaviors our dogs display are normal for them, but may seem really strange or weird to you and me. You bet they do. You don't think we seem weird to our pets? Think again. So today, coming up, we're going to take a look at some abnormal dog behaviors. Why your dog does this, and we'll take a look at that as well. Now, we've talked about this in the past. And a couple of weeks ago, I told you that one of the reasons that dogs circle, boy, I love to open the show with a poop thing. One of the reasons that dogs circle is because they're in control of the magnetic pull of the earth. They're also looking for wind direction. They're in a very vulnerable position. But that's not the only reason. People always ask me, Warren, how do dogs find their way home or cats find their way home when they're lost? Well, there's been a lot of different reactions to that. Some people think that dogs are really in tune with what the stars look like, and they can find their way home by following the stars. Other people say, that's all nonsense. It's their heart. It's love. Just the ability to love as much as our dogs love gives them the ability to find their way home. But there's a new thing. A lot of people are saying now that the Earth's magnetic field, the dogs are so in tune, and cats for that matter as well, are so in tune with the Earth's magnetic field that it really encourages them and actually helps them find their way home. So we'll talk about that on this show as well. As always, plenty of time for your questions and comments. Lots of great stuff to give away. So if your pet is jumping, chewing, scratching, not using the litter box, your dog's not getting along with other dogs, maybe that puppy isn't housebroken, or your dog believes he's got to hump everything in sight, great time to give me a call. Again, that number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870. I'm laughing, 5752. Detained in front of the Plaza Hotel. Yeah, they took me in. I wasn't convicted of anything, but they took me in. We'll talk about that a little bit later on today's show. I've gotten in trouble for doing some good things I thought were good things. But over the years, I got in trouble on Long Island for breaking a window before the law said you could do that to let a dog out. I got arrested in New York City for standing at Central Park in front of the carriage horses and say it's too hot, they're not going anywhere. Again, Warren got taken away, and today we're going to tell you an entirely different story. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-KRLA. That is the phone number. So, I kind of thought about this week. I get up early. I told you this. I'm 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. It drives Denise crazy. Even drives Molly and Willie crazy because I'm up so early. But then again, I go to sleep like at 5 o'clock. So here's the question of the day. What personality traits... Think about it. What personality traits does your pet have? What personality traits does your dog or your cat have that you wish people, your friends, your family would have? Think about it. It's an interesting question. If you had the opportunity to transfer some of the personality of your dog or cat into the personality of some of those people that that walk upright, how would you respond? Give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. If you get through, a great gift will be on its way to you. Again, the number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. I was out for a walk the other morning. I guess it was around 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30. It was pitch black outside. And again, every day I go walking early in the morning, and I never know what I run across. I've posted pictures of me hanging out with the coyotes and talking to them. But this week, does anyone know what a javelina is? Maybe if you don't live in the Southwest, you don't know what a javelina is. It's kind of like a pig and a deer. It's hard to describe animal, but just amazing. So I'm walking, and all of a sudden, and they root just like pigs. I'm hearing this grunting 5 feet away from me. And I look down, and there's an entire herd of javelinas with their babies. Now, you may say, come on, Warren, you're not going to be fearful of a javelina. You're darn right I'm going to be fearful of a javelina when they have their babies around. So they kind of walked around me. It was kind of interesting to watch the javelinas. So what am I looking for next? I bumped into javelinas, hanging out with road runners, hanging out with the coyotes. But in my neighborhood, in the hood, in Warren's hood, in a part of Arizona I'm in, for many years, they did a lot of mining. And all these miners had these burros. And when mining stopped, these wild burros were let loose, and they roam all over. There's signs all over that says, watch out for jackasses. Sign should be in Washington, maybe not in Arizona. But anyway, I'm not getting political. Anyway, the bottom line is that I haven't seen them yet. But as I walk in the morning, I am a true observer of poop, animal poop, a true observer. And I was trying to figure out, man, what is that? It's not javelina. It's certainly not coyote. Someone has a 450-pound dog, or there's something else hanging out in my neighborhood. Turns out there's a bunch of burros that have been coming in here and hanging out. They got to be absolutely gorgeous. I haven't seen any yet. People are telling me they're there. I've seen their poop, so I know the face and the head must follow. So I'll keep you updated on my excursions in the wild, wild world of Arizona. Javelinas, coyotes, burros. Haven't seen any tarantulas lately. I've had tarantulas as pets my whole life. I just love tarantulas. Haven't seen any scorpions, or I haven't seen any Gila monsters yet. Gila monster, by the way, the only venomous reptile, the only venomous lizard in Southern California. I've handled them before. Not a big problem. And generally, a venom is not that serious. Anyway, those are my walks in the morning. Anyone want to come join me? Denise goes, I'm so glad. Even the dogs don't want to go out with me in the morning because they never know. It's pitch black out there, and sometimes all I see is eyeballs. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. Don't be embarrassed, folks. Come on, I want you to answer this question. I've been letting you skate the last couple of weeks on my question of the day. So what personality trait does your dog or your cat or your bird or whatever pet you have, what personality trait does your pet have that you wish your human friends had? Give me a call. Great gift will be on its way to you. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. I made a comment last week. Got a lot of response on my social media. I said, for every no, there needs to be a yes. And some people say, I never thought about it that way. If we're constantly telling our dogs no, 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 how are we at the same time building up their confidence, building up their self-esteem, building up their self-image? And my response to that is just say yes once in a while. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got it. I understand. Yeah. I say yes to Molly and Willie all the time. Again, the number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA. Let me start out with a phone call. Let's go to Deb in Van Nuys. Hey, Deb. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing great. How about yourself, Deb? How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good, thank you. I have 2 cats, and I just wish people were a little more loving and understanding. See, I mean, we say no to our animals, like you say. I have one of my cats I say no to, and he gives me a dirty look. So
I just want bring me a mouse once in a while. Bring me a mouse once in a while. Bring me something. Show me.
Well, they've got lots of mice. They're just not real ones.
Yeah, I have friends. My friends, I agree with you 100%. I think there are so many traits that animals have. Honesty. I've never been lied to by, maybe fooled a little bit, but I've never been lied to by a dog or cat. I've never had a dog borrow $10 and not pay me back. The honesty factor. The honesty factor, the loving factor.
They're not demanding like people.
Yeah,
absolutely. They're for easygoing, and I've trained my cats, believe it or not.
What have you trained your cats to do?
Well, I did train one, my female, to roll over like a dog. She kind of acted like a dog when I first got her. So I trained her how to roll over on request. I mean, I just have to say, okay, roll over, and she does it.
It's always it always interested me, Deb, that people, when I first started talking about training cats in my cat book, and I talked about the whole concept of my argument with Dave Letterman and all that. But anyway, the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that I am anti-circus with animals. I am not pro-zoo in any way, shape, or form. However, if you think back, when we were not before we all knew how the abuse and other things take place in the circus, I was a kid. My parents took me to the circus, and I would see, what was the famous Gunther Gable, William? I forget. But anyway, what they would do is they would have the lions and the tigers, and they would walk them on a leash, and they'd roll over, and they'd give their paw, and they sit up. So you can watch these lions and tigers and bears. Oh, my. I don't like the way they were trained, and I don't endorse them any way, shape, or form. But the bottom line is, it just shows you that I think cats are so darn intelligent. They convinced everyone that they can't be trained just so we leave them alone.
Well, they will do, they're show-offs. They are show-offs, to get your attention and to get a hug or a kiss or whatever. Mine don't even have to give a treat. It's more like just give me a hug and give me
say yes. Tell me how much you love me once in a while. Hey, listen, I got to move on. Anyway, listen, Deb, keep training your cats. Don't go anywhere. I'm trying to think what I want to say. You know what? I'm going to put you on hold, and I am going to send you. Listen, this is going to be one of those years in Southern California. Between the fires and the rains, it's going to be an incredibly horrible, horrible flea season like it isn't flea season 24/7. I am going to send you, Deb, some all-natural herbal flea spray for your cats, and I appreciate that phone call. Hey, the phone number here, 866-870-KRLA. Let me take a quick break. The question of the day, you guys are afraid to answer. That's what I think it is. I think you're afraid to answer this question. What personality trait does your dog or cat have that you wish people had? Honesty, loyalty, commitment. What is it? Give me a call. Let me know, and I'll send you a great gift. 866-870-KRLA. Quick break, then right back to your calls. You know, for years now, KRLA 866-870-5752. By the way, if you want to ask a question, you can go to YouTube. I'll take some calls, questions from YouTube as well. It's youtube.com/Warren Eckstein, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Maybe I'll see if I can bring Molly or Willie up later. They're downstairs. They don't want to come up. They're kind of hanging out. It's the weekend. They're kind of kicking back. I think they're watching Parking Wars as I speak. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. Before I get to a phone call, last week, if you were listening, and you should have been, I talked about the concept that I believe that our dogs actually eavesdrop on their guardians. They actually know what we're saying, hear what we're saying, and they have this incredible ability and react accordingly, just like primates. I got a lot of flack from that. Come on, Warren. How do dogs know what we're talking about? How do cats know what we're talking about? Well, I'm tossing that out to you guys. Do your dogs and cats know what you're talking about? I just mentioned the word dinner. They know what I'm talking about. I just mentioned the word mom's home. They know what I'm talking about. I just think about or have a conversation on the phone with somebody talking about Molly and Willie. They could be in another room. They're there. So do you believe like I do, or am I that crazy? I may be. That I believe that dogs and cats eavesdrop on their guardians. Help me out here, guys. Come on. Help me out here. Do you believe that your dogs and cats can eavesdrop on you as well? I do. Hey, by the way, coming up, some really important information. We're going to talk about what I call the unintentional delinquency. How many calls do you hear on the pet show? People call me, my dog did this wrong, my cat did this wrong, my dog's bad, what do I do? He's dumb, he's whatever. And they always say, well, my dog's a delinquent. Your dog's a delinquent? What is unintentional delinquency? Have none of us ever made a mistake that we felt bad about? More than once? I've done them a dozen times. Does that make me a delinquent? I don't know. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Does anyone agree with me on some? Think about the term unintentional delinquency. It's like if your dog does something and it really bugs the heck out of you and it bothers you, but from your perspective or the dog's perspective, he didn't do it for that reason. He didn't do it to make you upset. He didn't do it to get you PO'd. That is unintentional delinquency. Man, I wish my parents had read that when I was growing up. Let me take a phone call here. Let's go to David in Irvine. Hey, David, welcome to the show.
Hey, Warren, nice to talk to you again. I've got 3 points. One, at the dog park, people spell the word treats, so the dog do not hear it, which is hilarious.
Yeah, it is. Treat. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Go ahead, David.
can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. I can hear you, David.
Okay, that was point 0. Point 1 is traits you wish in other people. My cat is not clingy, and my dog is very clingy, and both could be desirable traits in humans.
So non-clingy as well as clingy is a desirable trait.
Depending on who the person is.
You got that absolutely right. Go ahead.
Okay. My final one is I heard on the radio this morning that LA is number 2 in the nation for having rats. And they've also made a law in California where you can't use apparently lethal poisons on rats. So my solution is get a cat. Works for me.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of other things. Well, I'm not a big fan of having cats running around. If you have a cat in your house that's keeping rats out of your house, I'm okay with that. I just don't like them running loose in the neighborhood. But there's a valid point for that. Years ago, another thing I got in trouble for, I was doing a show in New York, a morning show, and someone called up and they said, well, why don't we get rid of the rats? We'll just put more poison out for them and blah, 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 blah. When you start putting that poison around in the environment, I don't care what you're trying to get rid of, in effect, you're affecting cats that are out there if they're eating the rats that have been poisoned, dogs that are out there.
The whole
cats,
food chain. The whole food
Exactly
chain.
right. So the best way to get rid of rats, very simple way. Number one is to keep things clean. Number two is not provide food for them. However, let me explain something about rats. I don't know how you guys get me off on these tangents, but you do. I've had pet rats. I had African pouch rats and many pet rats. Rats are incredibly bright, incredibly smart, incredibly sweet if they're brought up properly. I'm not talking about the rats running around in your backyard. Listen, I grew up in New York, where the rats are probably the size of dogs. However,
Hey, what are you talking about?
you got that right. But here's the thing. If you ever walked on some of the streets, and I'm not knocking New York City, it's my hometown. I love New York with every piece of my heart. But that's why I live in Arizona now, right? But understanding.
That's why you don't put R's on the end of your words, man.
There you go. But understanding that you know it's. If New York City would put their garbage lids on, if New York City would get rid of the garbage on some of the streets and some of the alleys, you would not have the amount of rats that you have. That simple. I think one of the things, because there's so many coyotes here in Arizona and in California as well, I think they also keep the rat population in check as well. But you're absolutely right. Do you have another one for me? Go ahead, shoot.
No, that was it.
That was it. All right. So listen, I agree. I know we spoke before. You want me to donate a gift, so I will donate a gift in your name to a rescue. And how many pets do you have now?
Two.
Two.
A beagle terrier and a cat, both 14.
God bless you.
He's sleeping
God bless
right
you.
behind me now.
Yeah, don't wake him up. Give him a hug and a kiss. I appreciate that phone call, Dave. Give me a call back anytime. It's absolutely true that the bottom line is that a lot of people want to use poison to get rid of rats, and there are other ways to do it without use. If you take away their food, if you take away their ability to get food, they're not going to be around. It's that simple. I don't believe in poisoning. That's just me. Poisoning, and let me write this down because I can tell you another story that I almost got fired from a radio station in New York City. I'm not going to mention the name, WOR. And the reason I almost got fired is because they put out these glue rats for glue traps for rats and mice in the studio. And there's nothing, as far as I'm concerned, that's more abusive than those glue traps. They make me absolutely crazy. They're so abusive. They're so painful. Torture. So what I did is I took the glue traps and I put the picture of the program director on them. And I stayed there. I did. And he found it. And he bawled me out for it. And I said, that's okay. I'd rather be bawled out than see some rats suffer on your glue sticks. And the bottom line, I won. The glue sticks were taken up. They went to other methods. Not going to tell you what, but the glue sticks were definitely put away. And just another time. Why am I always getting in trouble? It's my big mouth. I know it is. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Coming up, we're going to take a look at unintentional delinquency. We're going to take a look at not what you think about your cats, but what do your cats think about you? I think you're going to be surprised to get the answer to that. And some interesting, strange behaviors from our dogs, phobias, compulsions. We'll talk about that. Great time to call me. Plenty of time for your calls. I got some hugs and kisses to give away. I got Lucy pet food to give away, kitty lickies to give away, all natural herbal flea spray to give away. I got Rosie's puppy fresh breath. Man, I've been getting response from that stuff. I've been giving some away. It's available at Amazon, by the way. Rosie's puppy fresh breath. Also, my good friends over at acornpets.com. If you have an older dog or an older cat or a younger dog or a younger cat, this company is by far the most amazing when it comes to calming products and recovery products for your dogs and cats. So check them out. It's called acornpets.com. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me take a quick break, then we'll get right. What's the name of that singer that's dating the football player on Kansas City? And Alex came up with the name. So I said, Alex, are you a Swiftie? And he said, don't even ask me that. The reason I said that is I want to do a little thing right now. Then I'll get to you, Tom. Didn't she have a song? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm into country music and folk music. Denise is into hard rock. Anyway, she had a song called "Shake It Off," didn't she? I think she had a song called "Shake It Off." So I wanted to share this with you, and this kind of came up in a conversation I was having with someone this week. Have you ever seen a dog shake its body as if it's wet, even though it's not The behavior is called shaking off. Anybody know what I'm talking about? It's often observed after a stressful or intense event. It's a way for dogs to release tension and actually reset themselves emotionally. Something I wrote, I'll be putting this up on YouTube this week. For example, a visit to the vet, confrontation with another dog. It's their instinctual way of physically and mentally shaking off the experience and returning to a more relaxed state. So has anyone else ever noticed that out there, that when they have their dog and maybe the dog has had a bad experience or something or whatever, a loud noise, they just kind of shake? That's called shaking off. A lot of people have never heard that term. That's why I'm so glad I've been talking to you guys for all these years, 45 and a half years almost. Shaking off. I'd love to hear from anyone if they have a dog that does this shaking it off. If they get nervous or anxious, if you have a dog that shakes it off, give me a call and a great gift will come to him so he won't have to shake it off anymore. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through to the pet show. Shake it off. Over the years, I've worked with so many dogs in so many stressful situations that I've taken them from, and I've watched and observed this shake it off thing, and it's amazing how a dog that was just in a confrontation or a stressful situation will just kind of shake his body like it's wet, and then a couple of minutes later, his personality, his feelings, his stress level has really decreased. Maybe we ought to try that. Maybe. Taylor's right. Maybe she's right. Maybe we just got to shake it off. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number coming up. I know you're dying to hear it. You want to know what your cat thinks about you. You might think he thinks highly about you. Maybe not. We'll talk about that in just a second. Right now, let's go to Tom in Reseda. Hey, Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I feed some stray outdoor cats, and they actually show up on their own now, but I was feeding this one cat that's in the neighborhood still, and it was coming like every day for a while, and then all of a sudden it quit coming, and I'm just wondering if you can tell me why.
Yeah, it could be any number of reasons. Maybe a lady around the corner is a better cook than you are, Tom. Generally speaking, when you have a group of feral cats, and hopefully someone's spaying and neutering, but if you have a group of feral cats, and all of a sudden one of the cats is not showing up, but you know the cat's okay because you've seen him in the neighborhood, generally speaking, there's been a hierarchy battle. So some other cat has either come in and there's been a battle, or just not getting along, or just decided it's time to move on, or maybe he found a nicer, hopefully again they're spayed and neutered, but nicer companionship somewhere else. As long as you're still seeing him, I would not have a major concern, but it's not unusual. You know, having fed as many feral cats as I've fed over the years, having one disappear, you always have the worst in your mind. Is he okay? What happened? You always have that fear, but the fact that you know he's in the neighborhood, it's probably just a behavioral issue or a social issue with some of the other cats in the group. Nothing to be overly concerned about. In fact, he may even come back in not too distant future.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I see him every so often. I think it's a he, a male.
Is anyone spaying and neutering these cats?
The cats that I'm feeding on a regular basis have all been fixed.
Okay, good. That's what I want to hear. Anyway, listen, Tom, don't go anywhere. I'm going to put Tom on hold. And if he has a bunch of feral cats and other cats, I'm also going, you know what, Tom? I'm going to send you some all-natural herbal flea spray as well, because of indoor cats and outdoor cats, we don't want them to have fleas. Phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me just tease you guys a little bit, okay? I'll give you the rest of the story later, but what do cats think about humans? Cats are social animals, right? But their social cues differ greatly from ours. So it's unlikely that they see us the same way they see other cats. They do watch us closely, learning our habits and responding and reacting to our behaviors. But what does your cat really, really think about you? We're going to take a look at that also coming up in just a little bit. We're going to take a look at how our cats show love. You know, people are always... And this, I love my cat people. I am so tired of people that live with cats being told that cats are not as affectionate. Cats don't show you the love that dogs show you. Cats don't do this, blah, cats don't do that. Coming up, I'm going to give you all the ways your cat tells you every single day how much they really love you. True, coming up in just a little bit. 866-870-KRLA also coming up. Yes, it's true. Yours truly was detained and arrested in front of the Plaza Hotel in New York City. I'll tell you why coming up a little bit later. But I actually was held in not a cell, in a room, God, I don't know if they still exist. I'm sure if I have any fashionistas out there. You guys ever hear of a store called Bergdorf Goodman? Maybe it's me. I've never heard I'm a Gap kind of. Bergdorf Goodman, Army Navy. That's where I get my clothes. Bergdorf Goodman. Oh, anyway, they had a big main store. If I'm remembering right, that was the name of the store. And it was on the corner, I believe, of Fifth Avenue, right by the Plaza Hotel, where I was arrested before for the horses going around. But anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Why would I possibly be put in a room and detained at Bergdorf Goodman? You can rest assured I wasn't stealing any clothing from there. We'll take a look at that. 866-870-KRLA. Let me take a quick break. We'll get right back to the phones after this. Yeah, it's true. It's true. 5752. That is the way to get through. Plenty of time for your calls. Lots of great stuff to give away as well. If you want to ask a question on YouTube, feel free. I'll take some YouTube questions as well. It's youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. You subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. In the future, I'll start, as soon as I settle down a little, maybe I'll bring up Molly a little bit later, or I'll bring up Willie a little bit later. They don't want to come up. They hang out downstairs. They love going in and out of the house. They're playing sometimes they come up and join me, and sometimes it's kind of like, we ain't coming up, Pop. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. A lot of behavioral problems in dogs, such as aggression or separation related disorders, have been associated with clinically significant strain caused by 68% of the people they live with. Like any good therapist, they often joke, blame mom and dad. But in this case, it's true. Behavioral issues and so many aggressive issues I've dealt with over the years and separation issues are basically caused by people that are stressed out, and that stress is going from one end of the leash to the other. I always tell people it's really important to understand the concept that your behavior travels from one end of the leash to the other. So that's why I've seen trainers in bad moods if you're in a bad mood, if you're not in the perfect frame of mind to work with your dog or work with your cat, don't do it. Go do it another day. Sit down, have something to eat, play, whatever you do. Never try to educate a dog or a cat when you're feeling a little anxious, angry, depressed. It just doesn't work. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. Let's go to Dolores in Los Angeles. Hey, Dolores, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you today, Dolores?
For some reason, there seems to be a bad connection here. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine, Dolores, perfectly.
Okay, fine. Well, I have not listened to your program for 2 years because my dog died 2 years ago this week.
I'm so sorry.
And I just couldn't bear to listen to your program. But for now, my sister died recently, and I have received some money from people. And I've been thinking about, she and I both love dogs, especially. And I'm thinking about, I want to give the money to, you used to talk about a place called Delta. Now, is that place still in existence?
Fabulous organization. My good friend Leo Grillo started and runs. I've known Leo for over 45 years. Delta Rescue is an incredible organization. If you're thinking about making a donation, that donation will be used very, very wisely. There's a couple, absolutely. It's just an incredible organization. There's two ways I can approach it. Number one, if you can give me if you have your name, your email, phone, whatever, if you can give that to Jose, who's screening today, what I can do is I can send that along to Delta and Leo, and they can contact you, and you guys can figure out exactly how you want to approach it.
Well, that would any measure will be fine. That
would be great. Yeah, it's a great organization. They do a lot of great work. So yeah, I would have no qualms about you donating. I'm sorry to hear about your sister, by the way, as well, and your dog from a couple of years ago. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is let me put you on hold, Dolores. Jose, get Dolores's name, her phone number, if she has an email address, and I will forward that to Leo Grillo over at Delta. We'll put them together, and maybe her donation will just help Leo save a lot more animals. So we'll put that together for you. Bless you for doing that, Dolores. I'm going to put you on hold. They'll get the information. I appreciate that phone call. I love people. I love my listeners. And you know, it's kind of hurt me a little bit. I don't listen to you. I haven't listened to you for 2 years. But she lost her dog. And I guess in a way I can understand that you don't want to hear other people talking about how much they love their dogs and love their cats or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, thank you and bless you and your sister's legacy, because you and your sister Dolores told me that you loved animals so much. You and your sister's legacy will go on for years helping the animals over at Delta, and I really do appreciate that phone call. 866-870-KRLA. We got lots of stuff to go over in the next hour. Lots and lots and lots of stuff. But let me run this by you. Years ago, you know, I was the regular on Regis and Kathy Lee, God, for 16, 17 years. Actually, before it started, it was Good Day New York, or Good Morning New York when I started doing it. Kathy Lee wasn't even there. It was Garvey's ex-wife. That was there. That was hosting the show when I first started. I forget her first name. Anyway, bottom line is this. I started talking on that show one day about the fact that there was a full moon, and Regis was talking about how his two cats at the time were reacting, and he thought I was crazy. And I said, no, I'm not crazy. You can tell me from your cats. But I want to toss this by you. A lot of cat guardians say that their cats act downright wacky during full moons. They say they can show signs of restlessness. They can have the zoomies. They can be agitated, hiding, excessive meowing, not letting you sleep at night. So let me toss this out. To any of my listeners out there with either a dog or a cat, do you notice changes in your dog or cat's behavior if in fact there is a full moon? Do you notice changes in your dog or cat's behavior if there's a full moon? Give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. I got some great stuff to give away. God, I didn't give anyone any Lucy pet food today. I didn't give anyone any lickies. I didn't give away hugs and kisses. I didn't give away cat books, Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath, air horns, calming, recovery. I got a lot of great stuff to give away. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. When we come back, we're going to talk about ways your cat shows you that they love you. Contrary to what people say, your cat does love you. And contrary to people say, well, dogs show love better. I say no. We'll talk about that when we come back. And also, unintentional delinquency, something I've been talking about for years and years and years. And people said, nah, there's no such thing. Well, there is such a thing. We'll talk about that when we come back. A quick break, then right back to your phone calls. You know, this as well. I want to talk about unintentional delinquency. This is something I wrote. I'm going to share it with you. I'll be putting it up on my YouTube channel. By the way, you should subscribe, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. You know, pets who go through the garbage, open drawers, and seem to always be getting into some kind of trouble are not delinquent, but really just very inquisitive pets. Even though their over-inquisitive behavior can cause some damage, let me stress once again that this is mainly unintentional delinquency. You know, sometimes the guardians of the overly inquisitive pet tend to overreact, actually reinforcing the behaviors they're trying to stop. Many trainers and behaviorists and guardians tend to overcorrect their pet without even analyzing why the pet is behaving that way in the first place. Some will use techniques to resolve this, but they're usually just a Band-Aid or a temporary fix. So what's the alternative? The alternative approach would be to increase the dog's mental and physical exercise and create a more interesting environment. So many times people blame their dogs and their cats for misbehaving or being delinquent. A dog that's getting tremendous amount of mental stimulation, tremendous amount of exercise, working with good guardians, good behaviorists, is very, very rarely behaving in a delinquent way. Usually our mind is focused on what else can I learn, what else can I do, show me this or show me that. And I'm so tired because so many dogs like this that are considered classified as delinquents wind up at shelters for no reason other than the fact their guardians or the professionals they're talking to didn't take the time to analyze it and figure out why. Tell me why the dog is behaving that certain way or why the cat is behaving a certain way. If you know why, you can easily resolve. Listen, we've got a whole other hour to come. Maybe Molly will come up and say hello at the beginning of the next hour. The phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Plenty of time for your calls. Lots of pretty amazing stuff to give away. I'm Warren Eckstein. You're listening to The Pet Show. Great time to give me a call. Phone number here at The Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Plenty of time for your calls. Lots of great stuff to give away coming up this hour as well. We're going to talk about abnormal behaviors. Joining me right now, I got busted. Here is my Molly. I don't know if you can see Molly. Molly's so dark. Can you guys see her? You can't even see Molly. I'm telling you, she's here. She's on my desk. You can't see her. I'm going to have to switch off and get Willie. Come on, give me a kiss. All right, there's Molly. You can see her now. There's Molly. There's my little girl. This is Molly. If you remember Molly's story, her and Willie were at a high kill shelter, and her brother, who looks entirely different than her, they didn't want me to take both. They only wanted to give me one. They didn't want both of them. So I said, I'm not leaving here unless both of my arms are filled. So Denise and I stayed there until we convinced them that Molly and Willie were coming home. Anyway, this is Molly. Molly is so different. Molly is like mellow, more like Denise, and Willie is like wiry and crazy, more like me. Anyway, say hello. This is Molly. Say hello, Molly. You want to talk? You want to say something to people? You're barking up a storm before, huh? Okay, you can go play with Willie. So that's Molly. That's my sweetheart. And Willie, maybe Willie will come up a little bit later. Let me tell you, every time I rescue a dog or every dog I save, they absolutely, without a doubt, pay you back every single day. How many people listening right now have adopted dogs, rescued cats? And is there anyone out there that can say to me that that dog or that cat didn't appreciate being rescued? I know they may come with a little issue here and a little issue there, but is there anyone ever had a dog or a cat for a period of time that didn't look at them with those admiring, thankful eyes saying, wow, you gave me a shot. You gave me a shot. I want to hear from anyone who's giving their dog or cat a shot at that. Give me a call. I got some great stuff to give away. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. And again, the question of the day, I expected you guys to respond more to this, but what personality trait does your dog or cat have that you wish people had? I'm sure there's a lot of them. Come on now. What? Honest, loyal, always with you, don't care what type of mood you're in, what you look like, if your breath is good, if your breath is bad. They're just total commitment to loving you. Am I crazy, or do your dogs and cats feel the same way? Give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Got some Lucy pet food to give away, kitty lickies, doggy lickies, hip to be square treats, hugs and kisses. My dog or cat book, Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath, and those T-shirts. Lots of great stuff to give away. Great time to give me a call. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. So, I've been living in Arizona for a while now, right? And a lot of people in my neighborhood are over 50, over 60. Anyway, the bottom line is this. A lot of you may never know, because I totally, as you heard someone say before, I totally lost my accent, that I grew up in New York, but my parents and my grandparents were all from the Bronx, Fordham Road. And therefore, I spent a lot of my early childhood in the Bronx. And so I have that little bit of a Bronx attitude, which will never, ever, ever go away. All right, let me just stop for a second and let me talk about this, okay? Then I'll get right to the phones. If you have a question or a comment, great time to give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. If your dog is jumping or humping or digging, your cat is scratching, not using a litter box, you rescued a dog, you don't know what to do, you do know what to do, you want to brag about a dog or a cat you rescued, great time to give me a call. But right now, I want to tell you the story of Warren, that's me, Warren being detained and arrested in New York City. Many of you know that for years I was the head instructor for Assistance Dogs International. Now, when Assistance Dogs International started, there was really no, I mean, one of the board people that I used to love, excuse me, was Stephen Sondheim's mother. And she just adored what I was doing with these animals. But anyway, it wasn't supposedly working with the animals as much as it was working with people that have their doctorate degree from all around the world. There was a place in upstate New York called Green Chimneys. And I would educate these people and teach these people how to work with dogs and cats and other animals that could really assist people that had certain challenges that they were unable to overcome. And so one of the things I needed to do is, after some of the training with these dogs and working with these dogs, I needed to start socializing them in situations where maybe the ultimate guardian would be in. It sure as heck wasn't going to be Brewster, New York, which was small town Leave It to Beaver, USA. Beautiful place, by the way. So what I decided to do was take a van, 6 or 7 of my students at that point, and 6 or 7 of the dogs that we had been working with in terms of teaching them to pick up things off the ground, or this is something I did years ago. You know, a lot of people that living in senior homes, they have these strings that they can pull if there's an emergency, but what if they couldn't get to the string? So one of the things I had to do is teach the dogs to pull the string if they noticed that their person was in some type of danger. Anyway, the reason I bring that up is here I am with these dogs, dropped off right in front of the Plaza Hotel. And at that point, it was still illegal, unless it was a seeing eye dog or a guide dog for the blind, it was still illegal to bring dogs into a place of business. And I knew that if I wanted these dogs to eventually be with people that had hearing challenges or some type of physical challenges or other issues, that they would be able to live a normal life, go into like a Neiman Marcus or a Bergdorf Goodman or wherever they had to go. And I was told over and over again, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't bring these dogs. Well, those of you who've been listening to me for 45 years know the one thing you can't tell me is that I can't do it. The minute you tell me I can't do it, I'm going to do it. So I took these dogs and the people I were training, these were all PhDs, by the way, and we walked into Bergdorf Goodman. I think it was Bergdorf Goodman. Again, I went to the corner. I hope someone know? There got to be New Yorkers listening. Bergdorf Goodman, the corner of 5th Avenue, right by the plaza. I think it was Bergdorf Goodman. I think that was the name. Anyway, I went into the store and I started walking around with the dogs and in the elevators and up and down and then the stair and this up and down and around people. Then all of a sudden I noticed a couple of men were kind of coming to us and started saying, you got to get out with those dogs. I said, why? I said, because there's no dogs allowed here. I said, but we're trying to work with these dogs to educate them so that they can work with people with challenges, so people with challenges can feel comfortable coming into your store. Isn't that the ultimate goal that everyone wants, that everyone has a fair shot at life? Well, you can't have the dogs in here. You can't have the dogs in here. Well, so the next thing I know, I'm not moving. I asked the people if they wanted to go out, feel free. Some of them did. Some of them stayed. And the next thing I knew, here comes NYPD, which is kind of interesting because I trained their dogs at that point. NYPD comes in and says, you got to get the dogs out. I said, I'm not taking the dogs out. We got to make a point here. We have to make a point that there are other challenges and other disabilities that people have besides visual. And therefore, we have to get these things changed. I told them I was working for Assistance Dogs International, showed them ID, and they said, even the cops were laughing, but at the same time, there was nothing they can do. I was being illegal by bringing dogs into a location where dogs weren't supposed to be. And they brought me to this back room and they read me the riot act and blah, 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 blah. They told me, you can get in a lot of trouble. You're going to have to go to court. You're going to go to blah. All you got to do is put me in jail for saving an animal's life. It's a jail sentence I'll take any day. Anyway, literally, I was arrested, kept in that room. They never took me down to the police station because we had a long conversation, and they released me. And I think back at that, and I say to myself, what was the purpose? What was the purpose? I understand there are certain places where you might not want to have a dog. I get it. But these dogs are being trained for people that have had such a hard time dealing with life, whatever challenge they had. That if I can train people from France and England and Israel and southern part of the United States and other parts of the world, and that's where all my students were from. Not that many of them, only 10 students to begin with. But if I could educate them in terms of finding what dogs, what cats would work best for certain individuals with certain challenges, I could make a positive imprint on things that are going on. I know I'm off topic here a little bit, but bear with me. So yeah, and my wife at that time, my first wife, Faye, who passed away, at an early age, was totally supportive of me, 100%. I was always in trouble doing something, but she was 100% supportive of me. And it was that incident that got a lot more people involved and a lot more people realizing that there are other challenges that people have and they should be able to have service dogs with them, that I believe really opened up this whole world to now what we see with people that have different dogs helping them with different situations in their life. So yeah, it was the second time I'm going to admit to of being arrested. Well, it's kind of interesting because having worked with the canine units of the NYPD and the units for the transit police department, they kind of knew me, but they have to do what they're told to do, and I guess they were told to get rid of Warren, and they did. Hey, great time to give me a call, by the way. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA. If you have a question about your dog or cat's behavior, jumping, humping, digging, scratching, maybe your cats aren't getting along, maybe you take your dog for a walk and he sees another dog and he goes absolutely berserk, maybe you're not understanding some of the things or some of the language that your dog is displaying to you, or you don't know how to resolve any issues that you may be having, great time to give me a call here at the Pet Show. The phone number, 866-870-KRLA. And if we talk, a great gift will be on its way. And if you're new to the show, it's not like I give away biscuits here, guys. Many of the items I give away are worth $25, $35, $45, or even $50. So if you have a question or a comment, you want to share a story, you want to comment on the story I just told you. Was I right or wrong about doing this? I knew it was illegal, but I did it anyway. Was I right or wrong? Great time to give me a call. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Or if you prefer, shoot me a YouTube, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. I'm reading some of the comments right now. youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Plenty of time for your calls. We got open lines, which is pretty rare here on the Pet Show. 866-870-KRLA. So if you have a question, you have a comment, great time to give me a call. Also, one of the things I'd like to find out from you guys as well, if you agreed with me, what do you think? Do you think that cats are how can I phrase this? Do you think that your cats, I don't want to say is smart, because they are, but do you think your cats are as emotional and as trainable as dogs are? I just had an argument with someone this week. They're talking about how great, yeah, dogs are fabulous. You're talking to the wrong person. You're preaching to me. But cats also are amazing. I've had over 30 cats at one time in my life, all of them rescues. Yeah, they had personalities. Yeah, there were conflicts. But I got to tell you, when they loved you, and you knew they loved you. Anyone who's ever had the opportunity of being owned by a cat knows that when a cat loves you, they really, really love you. They may show it a little bit differently, and I'm going to talk about that coming up in just a little. Where did I put that? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Different ways that your cat shows how much they love you. And I think you're going to be surprised at just how many ways they do. 866-870-KRLA. So you're listening to a convicted, well, not convicted, but at least detained personality. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. Let me do this here. What time? Yeah, I got to take a quick break. Let me take a quick break. Then we'll get to all of your phone calls. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Get through. Plenty of time for your calls. Lots of great stuff to give away. Well, while we were taking that last break, that last commercial break, I got a text, a real important text. The text was from my dog, Willie. He said, all right, Pop, You showed Molly on the air. What about me? I'm just as cute as my sister Molly. So here's Willie. This is Willie, Molly's sister. I don't know if you can see Willie or not. Well, Willie, Molly's sister, brother, and one of the dogs that they said I couldn't have. And who's more adorable? Who's more adorable than this? Come on, give Daddy a hug. There you go. There you go. I can spend all day just smooching this dog. He's the most affectionate, lovable, incredible dog in the world. Say hello. Willie, say hello. Okay, go play with Molly. Next week, he told me he's going to do the show. I can't believe that those dogs never would have found a home together if I didn't, or if Denise and I weren't more assertive. I don't know. I think some of the people at the shelters have to be more educated about making sure they're doing the right thing. So you met Molly, you met Willie. Now they're going to want to be on this show every week. God, I'm going to have to give them a raise. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. We'll get right to the phones. Just before I do that, for those people that say cats don't understand or cats don't show love, I made a list. Here's the list. Cats show their love by purring, meowing, rolling around, rubbing, kneading, tail wagging, licking, and playing. And if your cat's smart enough, they just say, hey, I love you. Cats really, really do show love for their guardians many different ways. Sometimes they'll bring home prey, not a great way to show love, but from their perspective, it's better than flowers and chocolate. So yes, cats show their love just like dogs do in different ways, and it's important for cat guardians and some dog people out there to get over the fact when they say, well, dogs are just so much better than cats. No. Back to the phones here. Let's go to Sam in Alhambra. Hey, Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Warren. Hey, first time he listened to your show, amazing. It was meant.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I adopted a cat that was relinquished from the Eaton Canyon fire. I've had him now. It's 5 weeks today. And yeah. I love him. He's a tabby Bengal mix. The guy is too smart for me. The only problem is his relinquished papers said that he doesn't mind getting his nails trimmed. Well, I'm petrified to do that. Do I take him to a groomer for them to do it?
You know,
have you
had cats? Sam, have you ever lived with cats before?
No, first time.
Okay, I would not recommend doing it yourself. What I would do is make an appointment with either your veterinarian or a groomer that specializes or works with cats. Go there, spend some time with them, let them show you. I don't know if the groomer is going to want to show you how to do it. They're going to want to do it. No, they will. Let them show you how to do it. It's very, very important that it's done properly. The most important thing that you can do right now, though, is make sure that you touch the feed, you massage the feed. You can bring out the nail clipper, but don't clip them. Put the nail clipper alongside the food dish so she associates it with positive things, but no way clipping at all. And then depending on, I think the first time around, going to the vet or the groomer is absolutely the way to go. But if you want to do it yourself in the future, you have to do it very gradually. You have to really focus. And it's not the most difficult task in the world, but a lot of people don't understand that these nails have what's called a quick or a vein in it. If you cut it too short, it's a little painful. And because dogs and cats learn through association, once they have a little pain from a nail clipping, they don't want to go near a nail clipping ever again. So I think at this point, the cat's been through enough stress and anxiety, maybe going to the groomer while you're there, letting the groomer or let the veterinarian and tell the groomer you want to learn how to do it yourself. And that's what I would recommend at this point.
Thank you. Another question.
Yeah, go ahead,
he loves to hide in any kind of size of boxes, and then he pops out of like a bed out of hell. Is that normal for cats to jump?
Absolutely, positively. Yeah, in other words, instinctively, he was out in the fires. God knows they will hide. They will pop out quickly. That's one of their ways of going after their prey. Survive,
okay.
But keep doing it. Bring in boxes every day. You know what? This is the first cat you've ever had, Sam. Let me do this. And the first time you listen to the show, welcome. You got to listen every week now. You promise?
Thank you. I will. You're great.
Don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you on hold, and we're going to pick up. I'm going to get your name and address, and I'm going to send you a copy, because if you're a new cat guardian, I'm going to send you a copy of how to get your cat to do what you want. It'll talk about nail clipping in there, show you how to do it yourself. But as I said, don't always listen to Warren. I would recommend you go to a veterinarian or a groomer that has a great time, great personality. Pay them a little extra. Let them take the time to show you how to do it. Unless you want to, as many people do, bring their cat in on a regular basis. But let me give you a quick tip here. One of the best things you can do is take those boxes that the cat likes to go in and come out of, and I would cover those cardboard boxes, or at least a couple of them, go to a carpet store, get some remnants, stuff that they're throwing away, glue that with non-toxic glue to the cardboard boxes, but glue it with the back side out. In other words, the carpet side gets glued to the box, the nappy side or ugly side stays out. That will keep the nails nice and trimmed on your cat. It's a lot gruffer, which will make the nails stay a lot more trimmed. So just a little tip for you at the same time, and bless you for taking this cat in, Sam. I really, really do appreciate it. Phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Nancy, don't go anywhere in Fullerton. Christina, don't go anywhere. I definitely want to get to your call as well. But right now, if you're listening a little bit early, you heard someone call about their sister had passed away, left some money, and she wanted to donate it to a raise. What do you think, Alex? We'll give it to them. They got it. They are the most amazing. They are so... This is another thing that drives me crazy. How many people out there have adopted a bonded pair of dogs? I have tears in my eyes whenever I hear about a bonded pair that's being separated at adoption. God bless the people that take in the dogs, even if they don't want both of them. But I just wish that people would understand the concept that if you take in a bonded pair, it's no more difficult than just taking in one of them. In fact, they help with the behavior of each other. They help with the education. They help with the play. Listen, I've had many bonded pairs in my life. Molly and Willie are perhaps, though, it's interesting about Molly and Willie, because I don't know their background at all, other than I know that they both abused. Willie, the little brown one you just saw, was kicked extensively. It's taken me all these years just to get him through that now. And even when you walk behind him now, he's a little fearful. I'd love to get my hands around the neck of the people that did it. So anyway, bonded pair. And him and Molly are just so bonded, and I'm so glad that we're able to give them the home that they have. So if anyone out there has a bonded pair and wants to talk about them, give me a call. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Christina, we'll get to you in just a second, but right now let me go to Fullerton. We have a dog. I love when people say, his dog will not do his business outside, like he's an accountant or a lawyer. His business outside. By the way, I don't know where it is. I can't find it. I'm looking for it, guys. I put together a list of all the terms you people have used to describe. I hate that term. I'm sorry. All the ways you people have used to describe your dog's accident. Rainy rain, number one. He left a cigar in the kitchen. A Tootsie Roll outside. For those people in the Midwest, when the dog poops outside and it's cold, they call it little steamers. I kept the whole list. One day I'll share those with you on my YouTube, by the way. And if you're not subscribing to YouTube, check out youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Hey, Nancy in Fullerton, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi, Warren. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
I've got a dog who is about 3 years old, and I've had her for a couple of years. I got her from the shelter, and I'm trying to get her focused to go to the bathroom in a more specific area instead of kind of all over the place. And part of the reason is because she's taken to going urinating on the sidewalk, and then the urine gets on her feet, and she smells really bad. That's part of it.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting question. Now, I'm just saying it's an interesting question because lots of times I get people that call me up and say, Warren, I want my dog to go to a certain spot in the backyard. I want my dog to pee and poop in a certain spot in the backyard. And people don't understand that a dog's urine. I did this last week. I talked about it. A dog's urine and their poop is their calling card. It's their Facebook. In other words, it's a lot of information being left there. So instinctively, they like to go in different areas. Probably the sidewalk where people walk and other people walk their dogs. Can you teach a dog to eliminate in one specific area? Yeah, you can. It takes a lot of patience. What I would do is the dog totally housebroken. Goes outside entirely, never goes inside?
No. When I got her, she had a head tremor, which is not as bad now as when I first got her. The vet had said that she was probably okay, but I do wonder if she's kind of got neurological problems because she's not very easy to train at all.
And when you say not easy to train, besides the housebreaking, what other issues are you having? That'll indicate to me some things.
I can't consistently get her to do some basic training like sit or lay down.
How old was she? How old was she when you got her?
Probably about 9 months.
Okay. Do we know any background on the dog at all?
No. I got her from the shelter, and she's just kind of wild. I mean, she's like a large Shih Tzu mix, like about 45 pounds. I'm not sure what she's mixed with.
Okay, a couple of things. First of all, your vet might be right on target. There could be neurological issues that are there, that are in play. The fact that she's primarily going outside and she's peeing on the concrete, what you can do if you really want, is it the same place on the concrete all the time?
No, it's kind of all over the place, and she still cannot not go in the house. She still has issues with that.
What I would do is the next time she goes in the house, do you have a backyard? Is that where you wanted to go, in the backyard?
Yes.
Okay. The next time she goes in the house, or the next time you take her for a walk and she pees on the sidewalk, what I want you to do is take a paper towel, dab up the urine, take that paper towel, cut it into pieces, put it in your backyard under maybe a ½ inch of dirt or grass. Don't give her the opportunity. Let her go to the backyard and do her thing there. Once she picks up that scent, she will go there. In terms of in the house, if she has an accident in the house, the same thing, put it outside. Your dog urinating outside on the concrete is totally normal behavior. And the minute you try to correct normal behavior from a dog's point of view, the more problems you're going to have. I'll give you an example. Little Willie, who you just saw here, who I said was abused so badly, little Willie, when I take Willie for a walk, he will also pee on the concrete. Could I stop it? I guess I could if I really wanted to, but that's what makes him feel comfortable, and I would never jeopardize. I mean, if he was doing something that was destructive, it's a different ballgame. I would never jeopardize Willie's comfort. So I definitely believe that if that's your big problem, in terms of inside, that's a whole different ballgame. In terms of he's going in the house and you want to stop that, and we assume, how often does he have accidents inside?
Sometimes a couple times a day. Other times it goes for several days without her doing that.
Yeah. Well, then what I would do is, I wish I knew more about the neurological state of the dog, because before I try to approach the dog and resolve the situation, if neurologically she's unable, I would confine her or watch her. I would gate her off when you can't watch her in a kitchen area, no crates, no cages. I would gate her off in the kitchen area, because if she does have an accident, it's generally the easiest place to clean up. Usually kitchens have a back door leading into the yard, which again will make it easier as well, because you can open the back door, take her right outside, and give her a lot of praise when she goes. That's how I would approach it at this point. I would not be overly concerned. If your main concern is the concrete, don't worry about that. Inside, a whole different ball game. Confine. Don't give her the opportunity to go in. But at the same time, as I said, bringing that stuff outside is important. The fact that she was 9 months old when you got her, her urinating inside, her urinating outside in those areas might be indicative of territorial or indicative of some type of way of surviving. So I don't know her background, but basically, as long as we can get her not to go in the house, confine her, watch, no in between, I could care less about her peeing on the concrete. People wear shoes. It's fine with me.
And I don't care that she goes on the concrete so much, except that there's slopes, and so it goes onto her feet. And
here's what you do. Get some paw wipes. They're available, or kitty baby wipes. Get some paw wipes. And, whether there's urine on the street or not, there's other stuff on the street you want to wipe off also. So it's not a bad idea for people that walk their dogs. I know it's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but if you walk your dogs in an area where there's a lot of other dogs walked or a lot of other things, not a bad idea to wipe their pads off when you bring them in the house. It can make a big difference as well. Anyway, listen, don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you on hold, and I am going to send you, because I want you to really focus on the behavior with this dog, and I want you to understand the differences. I'm going to send you a copy of how to get your dog to do what you want. And bless you. I mean, really bless you for adopting this dog. It's interesting to me, but sometimes we want our dogs and our cats to behave, not necessarily Nancy, we want our dogs or cats to behave in a certain way without taking into consideration the way they think. Anytime I'm confronted with an issue with a dog or a cat, and how many thousands and thousands of issues I've been confronted with, I always try to at least backstep a little bit and say, okay, what's causing this problem? What do I do to resolve this problem? And I try to look at it from the dog's point of view, not just my point of view, because as much as I understand dog behavior, they have a different way of approaching life than I have. And I try to understand them as best as I can for all the years I've been working with them. But sometimes I learn more from dogs than I could ever teach them. And just watching their behavior and saying, you know what, maybe she's peeing outside because it was something she had to do. Maybe she was a street dog before you got her. Maybe it was a survival instinct. All things you need to take into consideration. Hey, great time to give me a call. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLM. We take a break, Nancy. We come back. You are up next, 866-870-5752. Do have a couple of open lines. Also, when we come back, anybody have a whining dog out there? Ever wanted to wonder why your dog is whining and what to do about it? I hear people yelling at us, stop whining, you're driving me crazy. Whine, 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 whine. Knock it off. Try to figure out why the dog is whining. Then you'll be able to resolve it. Quick break, then right back to your calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. And we are back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. That phone number, 866-870-KRLA. You know, before I get to a phone call, a lot of you know that I spend time at Ground Zero. I don't talk about it that often, but I'll give you the scenario, and I'll tell you why I'm talking about it now. I was living in Los Angeles at that time, and I got a call from NYPD that they could use my expertise. I said, it's great, but I'm living in California, and there's no flights. The planes are all down. What do I do? Well, Denise knew what I was going to do. I hopped in my Ford Explorer, 1992, and I drove cross-country to the Brooklyn Navy Yard, which was headquarters for the K9. The reason I bring that up is these dogs did an absolutely amazing job. I remember giving a dog an incredible award for doing it. The reason I bring it up, and I don't talk about this a lot, I grew up in a small town on Long Island called Oceanside. I was a member of the volunteer fire department. I'll print some of the stories another time. I got in trouble for stealing the ambulance to rescue a dog. That's a whole other story. But as a volunteer firefighter, a lot of my friends that were volunteer firefighters also professionally were professional firefighters for the NYPD. One of my close friends was in Rescue 1 NYPD. And we talk back and forth. And every day he's texting me about another one of the firefighters he worked with, or rescue people he worked with, or police officers he worked with, has passed away. And it breaks my heart. You know, we all breathe, God knows what. I remember green smoke coming up and saying, what is that? And they said, we don't even know. And the reason I bring that up is that I don't want anyone to ever forget what happened. My friend, my close friend, I'm not going to mention his name, sent me a text last week that his time is close. And it breaks my heart. People tend to forget. Don't ever forget. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but this is a close friend of mine, volunteered fire department, paid firefighter, Rescue 1, New York City. And sends me a text. He doesn't know how long he has. Dogs did an amazing job. The people did an amazing job there. Just absolutely incredible. And again, it's something I have memories all up there and stuff of it. I have people say, Ground Zero, what was it all about? That's what it was all about. Anyway, great time to give me a call, 866-870-KARA. Let's talk about whining. I get more and more emails about people saying, my dog is whining. What is he whining about? What can I do? Whine, 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 whine. Well, let me tell you something else I'm going to put together this week. And by the way, I know I'm pushing my YouTube channel. God knows. Well, I love doing my radio show, but YouTube gives me the opportunity to go into a lot more detail. So check out youtube.com/Warren Eckstein and subscribe. It's free. Jeez. Anyway. Whining, dogs whining is often associated with vocalizations that dogs use to express their needs or their emotions. So whining isn't to make you upset. Whining is not to get you angry. Whining is a way of dogs expressing their needs or their emotions. It can indicate lots of different things. It can indicate anxiety. It can indicate fear. It can indicate pain or just a desire for more attention. You know, puppies whine to communicate their discomfort or to solicit care from their mother. They whine to get fed. They whine if there's a problem. So whining starts from day one. So whining is an important aspect of communication from our dogs. Now, an adult dog whining can be a way of seeking attention, expressing frustration, or indicating physical comfort. So before you yell, shut up, knock it off, you're driving me crazy, and Molly and Willie will whine once in a while, the first thing I do is go over and say, hey, what are you guys whining about? Everything okay? What are you guys whining about? And sometimes they tell me. So next time your dog's whining, don't get angry. Don't yell and scream. He's probably whining because he's already uncomfortable. And that really is another thing that people tend to do. If the dog is behaving a certain way and people get angry or upset at the way the dog's behaving, the first reaction on their part is to try to correct. And trainers and behaviorists do this all the time. I say the most qualified trainer, the most qualified animal rescuer, the most qualified behaviorist, and the most qualified veterinarians always take the time to figure out the cause and then resolve the issue based on that. I'm so tired of watching these Instagram posts. Well, this is how you train a dog, and Gestapo style. He's got to do this Schutz and heel, and when I stop, he's got to go through my leg and weave in and out. I don't get it. I don't get it. Why can't people educate their dogs, teach their dogs good manners, but why can't people accept the fact that dogs are not perfect, nor should we expect them to be perfect till we're perfect. And believe me, we have a long, long way to go. Just a reminder, when I get off the air here, I got another 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But before I get off the air here, I just want to remind everyone that when I leave this station here, I don't go anywhere. Starting at 1 o'clock your time, I start doing my National Canadian Radio America Armed Forces radio show, which goes all over pretty much the world. I'll give you that number a little bit later. So if you're out there driving around and you have this really burning question, really driving you nuts, don't be afraid to give me a call. I'll give you that number in a little bit. Right now, let me do this. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, James, we're going to try to get to you. A quick break, then right back to your phone calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. Number is different. Also toll free, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. That show starts at 1 o'clock. But right now, let's see if we can help out James in South El Monte. Hi, James. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Warren. It's been a while
you,
since
James?
we spoke. You helped me with my other Aussie that had arthritis. But now I have a new best friend, and he doesn't do the pacing. He's only done it once when we were at the beach, but other than that, he doesn't do it. Is that a normal thing, or do Aussies, some do it, some don't?
Just like men, some do it, some don't. Just like people, just like every animal's different. There are certain characteristics that certain breeds may have, for example. But however, when you have a breed like Australian Shepherd, a breed I'm very familiar with, I gave the first Australian Shepherd in America its title, so I'm very familiar with the breed. But comparing the behavior of dogs, there's some similarities. But if you expect your dog to behave this way because other Australian Shepherds behave that way, no, it's not going to happen. Accept them and appreciate the difference. So tell me about your new dog. We got about a minute or so left. So tell me about your new dog.
Well, he's a little blue Merle. He gets to go with me to work, so he has plenty of people to play with, and puts me as just the guy he goes home with and not so much the owner. And when he runs, he kind of cross-canters too. But he's a sweet little guy. It's
not unusual. Yeah, that crossing is not unusual at all. Some dogs just do that. So do you believe now for the rest of your life you'll be an Aussie Guardian?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and at my age, he may be the last one.
They're just an amazing breed of dog. I remember, I go back, and I'm going to print copies of this book. I go back when they were considered a rare breed, where the Portuguese water dog was considered a rare breed, the Neapolitan Mastiff was considered a rare breed, the Lauchin was considered a rare breed. There are many breeds of dogs that are considered rare that are accepted now. And someday I'll do a whole thing on some of those rare breeds. Anyway, it's a great breed of dog. Sometimes the only question I have with Australian Shepherds is simply this. Correct me if I'm wrong, James. Sometimes they're a little too smart for the people they live with?
He believes that.
There's no doubt in my mind. Listen, Jim, I'm trying to think what I want to send you for your new Aussie. You know what, James? Don't go anywhere. I am going to put you on hold, and I want to make your dog kissable. So I am going to send you some Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath, an amazing product. Check it out at Amazon.com. Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. We are just about out of time for this week. I don't know where these 2 hours go, but they fly by. Anyway, let me give you the phone number. The National Canadian Show starts in about 2 minutes. That phone number is 877-725-8255. You guys have a jump up on the rest of the country because the show starts at 5 minutes after, and you'll be calling before that. Again, 877-725-8255. It's the same type of show. I give away the same type of gifts. So, again, 877-725-8255. And, yeah, I'm sorry that I had to tell you that your host was a convict, but every once in a while I tell you about my past. Have a great week. Give all your pets a big hug and a kiss for you, one right between the ears for me. I'm Warren Eckstein, and thank you for listening to